It's been one of the busiest transfer windows in football history. The Premier League has seen massive money moves in and out of the league. Some teams have spent well over £100 million already, and some actually haven't bought anyone at all. Today, I'm going to go through each Premier League team and rank their transfer business so far to date on a 1 to 10 scale. Now, it's currently the 19th of July, so this can change drastically. But anyway, let's get into it. Let's start with Arsenal. They've wasted no time in getting the players in. Mikel Arteta has identified what positions he wants and needs, and he's made some bloody good signings. Firstly, Kai Havertz from Chelsea for £65 million. I'm not too sure on this. Is he a striker? Is he a midfielder? I don't know where he's going to play, but he's still pretty young, and he's obviously got talent. I think Arteta can do wonders with him. Then we've got the second most expensive Premier League player ever in Declan Rice. Now, I'm a massive fan of this transfer. £105 million for probably the best young DM in world football. He's going to be part of Arsenal's team for the next 7 to 8 years. He's a cracking player and a cracking transfer all around. And finally, they've brought in Jurrien Timber for £38 million, a player that was massively wanted by United, especially with Ten Hag in charge. But Timber has opted to go to Arsenal, and I can see this being a wonderful transfer as well. £38 million is pretty cheap for a player of his quality. He's a Netherlands international, plays alongside Virgil van Dijk. I think it's a great transfer. But they've also done well on the outs. We're getting rid of Granit Xhaka, £21.5 million. He had a great season last season, the club captain, but it's probably about time to move on. So far, I'm going to give Arsenal an 8 out of 10. Pretty solid so far. Well, firstly, we have a sponsor. Meet Exeter. They're on a mission to upgrade all your travel essentials. For example, I got this cool smart wallet here. As you can see, it's super slim and half the size of a normal wallet, and this is the coolest part about it. If I want to pop my cards out, bosh. As you can see, I have 2 Nando's cards. Nando's, hit me up. You also can track this wallet anywhere in the world. This can hold up to 12 different cards. Comes into 14 different colors and patterns. I went for just black because I'm basic. And I forgot to mention, there's 25% off if you buy using my code, JammsterZ. They don't just do premium wallets as well. They do laptop bags. Now, I actually don't own a laptop, but I've got my mum's laptop here just to show you how cool it can be. So if you want to level up your accessories, head over to Exeter using the link down below. Next, we've got Aston Villa, and wowee, what a transfer window so far for them. They brought in Pau Torres from Villarreal for £33 million. That is a top-class signing. He's going to shore up that centre-back role amazingly. And finally, Yuri Tielemans on a free transfer from Leicester. For £33 million to have those 3 players is wonderful business. Yuri Tielemans, quality player on his day, Belgium international. Pau Torres, Spanish international, amazing player. Both relatively young in their primes. And the only player that they've lost from the first team is Ashley Young. They're also look set to challenge for Moussa Diaby or Brennan Johnson. If they get either of them, wowee, what a transfer window. I'm going to rate them so far an 8 out of 10 again, but these are ones to watch. And the strong transfer windows continue with Bournemouth. Low-key, they're doing bits. They have confirmed Romain Fivre from Lyon for £12.8 million. He goes straight on loan to Lorient. He's a baller. They've bought Justin Kluivert for £9.5 million from Roma. He's a solid rotational option. Looks fairly quick and decent dribbler. He could be a very high potential player. And finally, they confirmed the signing of Hamad Traore from Sassuolo for £20 million. I rate him highly. On the outs, however, they have got rid of Sariki Dembele and Ben Pearson, who are on decent amount of wages. So that's pretty good transfer news there to Stoke and Birmingham. However, they have lost Jefferson Lerma to Crystal Palace on a free transfer, who was a big key part in that Bournemouth midfield. So they will need to replace him at some point. They also lost Jordan Zamora to Udinese for a free transfer. So a solid young left back gone as well. So I'm going to rate Bournemouth's transfer window a 6.5. It's been a great solid start. However, they do need to they've got some little holes and gaps that they need to just fill in. They are about to sign Milos Kerkez from Feyenoord, I believe. Oh no, PSV Eindhoven, sorry. For around £17 million. Now, I'll be honest, I've never heard of him, but he seems pretty decent and Lazio wanted him. So it could be a great signing there. So I'm going to bump him up to a 7. Next up is Brentford. Now, they have bought in Nathan Collins for a club record transfer fee, an Irish record transfer fee of £23 million. Baller, in my opinion. I really like him. They brought in Ethan Briley from Rochdale. Solid young player. Romeo Beckham from Inter Miami. Mark Fleckham from Freiburg for £11 million. Kevin Schade for £20 million from Freiburg. And Ji-sung Kim from Sonyam for undisclosed fee. So they're getting the players in. Are these players of proper quality? I do have a little bit of a question mark. Brentford always do seem to find the low league gems though. But Nathan Collins is a real good statement at centre back. I do feel they do lack a little bit in the midfield and maybe a little bit in the attack though. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. They haven't really lost anyone of massive quality, maybe Pontus Jansson as captain material, but it's been solid so far. Next we have Brighton, who always pick up the cheap gems, and I must say I'm a massive fan of their transfer window so far. On the ins, you've got Bart Verbruggen from Anderlecht for £16.3 million. One of the best young goalkeepers in world football right now. However, it does indicate that Robert Sanchez may potentially be on the out. I really do like Robert Sanchez, and Verbruggen is obviously amazing. Both of them can't be in the same team, however. So some decisions to be made there. They also bought Mahmoud Dahoud from Borussia Dortmund. A wonderful transfer. He has been on the radar of Liverpool and all the big clubs for a long time now. Really, really excited to see how he does in that midfield. They bought João Pedro from Watford for an undisclosed fee, believed to be around £20 million. João Pedro, one of the best up-and-coming Brazilian talents in world football right now. Scores some absolute wonder goals in the championship, and he's by far the best player there. Striker was one position that Brighton were never really that solid on, but now with João Pedro, he looks fantastic. They also bought in James Milner, which I rate experience. It's a solid signing. However, on the outs, they have let go of Alexis McAllister to Liverpool. He was a big key player, but hopefully Mahmoud Dahoud kind of fills that role. So I don't think it's actually been that bad so far. I'm going to give him a 7.5 out of 10. Big old Burnley Brexit football. Their transfer window under Vincent Kompany, the man with the largest head in football, has been fantastic so far. They've brought in Jordan Bayer from Mönchengladbach on an undisclosed fee. He was fantastic last year for them. They also brought in Michael Obafemi from Swansea for an undisclosed fee. He was okay for him. They bought Dara O'Shea for around £7 million from West Brom. He's a fantastic player. Adds a lot of solid depth at right back and also centre back. They also brought in Lawrence Vigouroux from Leyton Orient on a free transfer as the backup goalkeeper. They're also very close to getting James Trafford in, who is superb. Gustavo Hamer, who again is superb. Amad Diallo on loan. Amazing. And Ian Mattison as well, who was there last season, who's a superb player. They've also bought wonderkid Zeki Amudani for £18 million from FC Basel on a 5-year contract. He looks like one to watch. Honestly, so far for Burnley right now, it's an 8 out of 10. If they get those players in, it's a 10 out of 10 window. Especially then they've lost no one of big quality, apart from maybe Ashley Barnes. He's gone to Norwich. But if they get those players in, 10 out of 10 window, Vincent Kompany, what a man. Next is Chelsea, who've been by far and large the busiest club in the window so far in the Premier League. They have brought in Nicholas Jackson for £30 million from Villarreal, Christopher Nkunku for £52 million from Leipzig, Kendre Payez for £18 million from Independiente de Valle, Angelo Gabriel from Santos, Alex Matos from Norwich, Diego Moreira from Benfica, and Ishe Samuel-Smith from Everton. Now, those last 5 are more like youth signings, but Nicholas Jackson, I've not really seen that much of him, I'll be honest, but he looks solid. Nkunku is a solid signing. He scored the most amount of goals in the Bundesliga last season, even though we missed like half of it. But what I like is the outs at Chelsea. They have gotten rid of most of their dead wood. Kai Havertz to Arsenal for £65 million is a wonderful deal for them. Mateo Kovacic to Man City for £30 million is a solid transfer as well. Loftus-Cheek for £18 million. Mason Mount off to United for £60 million. Christian Pulisic to AC Milan for £18.8 million. Kalidou Koulibaly to Al Hilal for like 30. Edouard Mendy to Al Ahly for like 20. Cesar Azpilicueta has gone to Atletico Madrid on a free. Timu Bakayoko has also been released, and N'Golo Kante has gone to Al Ittihad for free. That is a lot of wages off the book, but also around £220 million worth of transfers in. It trims that squad down and looks fantastic business. It's a 9 out of 10 window so far for Chelsea. I think they're a little light in midfield. If they bring in a world-class midfielder, 10 out of 10 transfer window so far. Now we get on to not the greatest transfer window. Crystal Palace. Their only in is Jefferson Lerma on Bournemouth. Now, don't get me wrong, Jefferson Lerma is a good player. Definitely brings in something that they need in that midfield. However, they don't really have an attack. But on the ins, they desperately need 3 or 4 players if Palace want to stay up next season, especially replacing Wilfred Zaha. If they get Zaha back, it's a decent transfer window. So far, it's a 3 out of 10. It's not looking good, bruv. Next, we've got Everton, who have only brought in Ashley Young from Aston Villa. He's a solid player, don't get me wrong. I like Ashley Young. 38 years of age on a 1-year contract, though. I'm not too sure he should be your only player bringing in, especially when Everton literally survived by the skin of their teeth last season. And when you look at the outs, it's a bit mad. Ellis Sims has gone to Coventry for £8 million. Tom Davis has been released. Asmir Begovic has been released, and Yerry Mina and Andros Townsend have also been been released. Yerry Mina, massive player for him. Tom Davis, a decent squad player. But Everton need a good 5 or 6 more signings, I would say, to look to stay up. At the moment, I don't see what they're doing. They have no money. They have nothing. Need to spend a little bit. Need to get some players in Everton. Come on. Fix up, lads. At the moment, it's a 2 out of 10. Sean Dyche, sort it out, geez. Another team with 0 ins is Fulham. It looks like Mitrovic wants to go to Saudi League because he's getting loads of money. I don't blame him. They haven't really lost any massive players, and apart from Naskins Cabano, maybe. They did re-sign Willian on a 1-year deal with a further option for a second. He was very close to teams like Forest and also Broad teams. So that's a quality little signing there. I do like that. They're looking to keep Polina as well, who's crucial to that team. They keep Polina. It looks decent. I think they do need a couple more players maybe in defense, a couple more in attack as well. But at the moment, it's probably a 4 out of 10 so far for Fulham. Definitely need to do a little bit better. Next, we've got Liverpool, whose 2 ins are Alexis McAllister for 35 million and Dominic Szoboszlai for 60 million from Leipzig. I'm a massive fan of both of these players. I think they're both amazing, and they definitely help with that midfield rebuild that Jurgen Klopp's going for. On the outs, you've got Bobby Firmino. He's gone to Al Ahly. Naby Keita's gone to Werder Bremen. James Milner's gone to Brighton. Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain has been released. Fabio Carvalho has gone to RB Leipzig on loan. I'm not a big fan of that. I really like Fabio Carvalho. I think he was very underappreciated last season at Liverpool. For me, Liverpool are looking a little bit light in midfield still, especially if Jordan Henderson and Fabinho leave. They need to reinvest that money into someone like Khéphren Thuram. I also think they're a striker short, especially with Bobby Firmino leaving. I'm going to give Liverpool a solid 5 out of 10. It's great, but it's not amazing, you know? Next is Luton Town. Now, they've brought in Mads Anderson from Barnsley for about £1 million, Tahith Chong for 4 million, and Chie Doze Ogbonne for 3 from Rotherham. Now, as a championship enthusiast myself, I love Mads Anderson, Tahith Chong, and Ogbene. Do I think they can do it in the Premier League? I'm not too sure, to be honest. They've also lost their captain, Sonny Bradley, to Derby, my team. Go on, the boys. But I think if Luton Town want to stay up, they're going to have to splash a little bit more cash. I think it's a solid start. They've brought in some players that have got great potential. They're young. They're hungry to play in the Premier League. I'm going to give it a solid 4.5 out of 10. Need some more money in there, boys. I want Luton to stay up so badly. Comment down below if you want Luton to stay up as well. Right, Manchester City. They have brought in Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea for 30 million and Yangel Correa from Girona. I think Mateo Kovacic is potentially one of the signings of the summer. £30 million for a player of his quality. He suits Pep's system down to a T. Technically brilliant. He's a baller. On the outs, however, they have lost Shea Charles, young player, to Southampton for 15 million. Great bit of business there. Morgan Rogers has gone to Middlesbrough for around 8 million, I think it is. Ilkay Gundogan has gone to Barcelona, however. Their captain scored some crucial goals for him. It also seems that Riyad Mahrez, Laporte, and Bernardo Silva want out, so we don't know what happens there. But so far, Mateo Kovacic for me is a 10 out of 10 signing. Absolutely love it. Shea Charles to Southampton for 15 million. Yeah, he's a quality player. He's got great potential, but it's a 10 out of 10 transfer. 15 million pounds for him. So far for Manchester City, depending on their outs, right now, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I think it's an amazing little transfer window there. Not brought in many players, but they've brought in the right players to replace. And I fully expect if Mahrez, etc. leave, they'll bring in some quality talent. Next is Manchester United, who have brought in Mason Mount from Chelsea for 60 million pounds. As a Derby fan, I absolutely love Mason Mount. Is he worth 60 million pounds? I probably would say yes. I really like the way Mount plays. I think he'll suit that Ten Hag system as one of the midfielders brilliantly. Proper box-to-box player. Wasn't really utilised that well at Chelsea. They are also very close to getting Onana and now Rasmus Højlund as well. They get Onana is confirmed. If they get Højlund as well, it's a very solid transfer window. However, on the outs, I don't like the fact that a lot of their young potential talent is leaving. Zidane Iqbal, I would have loaned out. He's gone to Utrecht for £1 million. Ethan Laird has gone for 700k to Birmingham. Really good player. Ethan Galbraith has gone to Leyton Orient as well. Deschamps Bernard, big fan of him. He's gone as well. Axel Tuanzebe, they didn't sell him in the past for like £10 million. And David De Gea has been released, but obviously they're replacing him with Onana. If they get Mason Mount, Onana, and Højlund, 10 out of 10 transfer window for Manchester United. Just going to put it out there now. Next, we've got Newcastle, who have brought in Sandro Tonali for £55 million from AC Milan. Sandro Tonali is the big transfer, and he is a massive player. They're also linked to Chiesa in real life. That would be really good. On the outs wise, they've sold Chris Wood for 15 million to Nottingham Forest. That is an absolute... They've had their pants down. They've literally pulled the pants down right there. But I'd like to see Newcastle potentially splash a little bit more cash. They're linked with St. Maximan to go to Saudi League for £25 million. I'd like them to put that money on a top quality winger. I'm going to give Newcastle a solid 6 out of 10 so far. Nottingham Forest, they have brought in Manny Norquette from United and Chris Wood for £15 million. They've also released Andre Ayew and Jesse Lingard and don't seem to be buying anyone. Forest need some quality in that team. I'm sorry, they're going to go down if they don't. I want to say it now, it's a straight 1 out of 10 so far from me for Forest. I think they can do 10 times better than this. Next up is Sheffield United, who have got in Anis Ben Slimani from Bromby. Never heard of him, I'll be honest. Yasser Larouchi from Troyes on a loan deal to buy as well. They've also signed Benny Traore, and I'm being completely honest here, I've never heard of either 3 of them. I heard of Lasso Larouchi because I think he was at Liverpool when he was younger, but all 3 completely unknown players, really. Now, I know Sheffield haven't got the money. They haven't really lost any key players, potentially Ender Stevens and Billy Sharp, but then again, they aren't Premier League quality players, so you never really know. A bit of an unknown. I'm going to give them a 5 out of 10 because I honestly don't know. Comment down below if you've actually heard of any of those players and if they're any good. You know, if you are like Danish, potentially, or French and know anything about any of these players, I'd love to know a little bit more. Tottenham, I've had a little bit of a good transfer window so far. It's probably the first time I'll ever say that. Dejan Kulusevski for £25 million is quality business. James Maddison from Leicester for £40 million again, and what quality business. 10 out of 10 transfer right there. They've been crying out for some creativity in that team, and they've got that man in James Maddison. We've also got Guillermo Victoria from Empoli for £17 million. He looks like a solid little backup keeper, potentially starting keeper if Lloris leaves. And they also got Manor Solomon from Shakhtar Donetsk on a free transfer. He was pretty good at Fulham last year, to be fair. Nice little rotation option across that front 3 line. On the outs, they've lost Harry Winks to Leicester for £10 million. Amazing transfer there, getting rid of the dead wood. And Lucas Moura has been released as well. But overall, the start from Tottenham has been fantastic. I'm giving them a 9.5 out of 10. Next is West Ham. Now, the only in that they have brought is Sean Moore from Cliftonville. Quality youngster. 17 years of age, potentially playing for Northern Ireland's international team. However, that's the only player they've brought in, and Sean Moore's not going to be playing first team football anytime soon. On the outs, they've lost Declan Rice, Arthur Masuaku, Manuel Lanzini as well. Big first team players there. Declan Rice is obviously the hardest player to replace. I would say he was almost irreplaceable in that team. Pretty much carried them to their Europa League win. Problem West Ham have got is they've got a lot of money now. Every team knows they've got a lot of money. So any player that they bring in, if it was 20 million before, it's now 35 million pounds just to bring him in. But right now, it's a stinker of a transfer window for West Ham. 0 out of 10. They need to fill that Declan Rice-sized hole. Need some more attackers, more defenders. It's not looking good, bruv. Finally, Wolves, Boubacar Kamara from Metz for 9.5 million. Never heard of him. Tom King from Northampton on a free. A backup keeper. On the outs, Connor Cody gone to Leicester for 7.5 million. Quality transfer for Leicester. Quality transfer for Wolves as well because they didn't want him. Everton could have bought him for like 3 million as well, but they didn't. So to get an extra 4.5 million from Leicester is quality bit of business. Nathan Collins out for 23 million. Now, Nathan Collins, it wasn't really working for him at Wolves, so it's good they've got him out for a big free. They made £3 million on him from his 20 million transfer from Burnley. And finally, the big one, Ruben Neves to Al Hilal for 47 million. They have also lost João Moutinho, who has been released, Diego Costa, who has also been released. Wolves have got a lot of money there, and they need to spend it wisely. They've lost Ruben Neves and João Moutinho, who are by far their creative midfielders, by far the best midfielders that they've had. That's going to be a tough ask to replace. Boubacar Kamara, I think he might be a defensive midfielder, so potentially he could fill one of those holes. Need some defenders with Nathan Collins going out as well. Need some attackers as well. It's a bit of a rebuild job for Julian Lopetegui, but there's potential there. But right now, it's a 2 out of 10. Comment down below if you thought any of these were wrong from me. Also, comment down below if you agree with me and tell me the best signing so far this summer. If you are new to the channel as well, I would love a subscription button. And if you've made it this far in the video, I love you so much.